now we have audio given to us by Andy. Andy Glenn is his. Can we put Andy on? Andy?
Yes, Glenn.
You're from Ohio, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. Toledo, Ohio,
Okay.
just outside Toledo, actually.
Toledo, Ohio. And you called me right before the inauguration, and you said your daughter, she's 12.
Correct.
She was going down to the inauguration, and she had been invited to a speech given by Al Gore, and it was on global warming.
Well, they didn't give the topic, but you assumed it.
What else is it going to talk about?
Right.
Okay, so given a speech by Al Gore, how many people attended this speech? How many kids?
Altogether, there were about 3,000 down there in Washington.
3,000 kids. How did your daughter get invited?
She was in fourth grade. She was nominated by her teacher at that time to attend the National Youth Scholars Program, where the kids go to a university for a week in the summer and study sciences. And then by being part of that program, she got an invitation to come back and attend the inauguration.
Okay, so she's 12 years old. She
Correct.
was in the fourth grade. She's one of the best and the brightest in the school, and so they invited all of these kids to Washington to listen to Al Gore. America, you're going to hear some audio here. I'm going to take a break, and you're going to hear some audio. Andy, when you heard this audio, what went through your mind?
Glenn, I played it as soon as we got in the car and started, after we picked her up, I was playing it on the way back to Toledo from Washington, and I was furious when I was listening to that.
Have you done anything about it besides call me?
We've filed a formal complaint, not so much with the speech, but with the whole experience that she had down in Washington with the organization. I've talked to her. We went through the speech. I talked to her beforehand, so at least she understands.
But again,
brainwashing.
But again, I would imagine if it was me, you feel pretty powerless. Well, I did what I could. I filed a complaint, and then
What am I going to do? Call Al Gore?
Exactly right. Exactly right. The machinery is rolling. America, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to play this. And I want to point out that this has been done exactly this way before in history. Wait until you hear what Al Gore is teaching the best and the brightest, what he's asking children to do. Coming up in just a second. 888-727-BCK, 888-727. Beck is the phone number. All right. Andy is on the phone with us, and Andy, you got this tape. You asked your daughter to go when she was going to this Al Gore speech, invited because she's 12 and really super smart, 3,000 kids. You gave her a tape, and you said, tape it?
Correct.
Okay.
Because I knew, I just had the feeling that I would want to know what was being said.
Okay. Here is the setup of, you'll get a sense. We're going to roll about a minute and a half of this. You're going to get a feeling of, oh, my gosh, look where he's going. Listen to the words of Al Gore.
But I'm thinking back now a long way to when I was your age and the Civil Rights Revolution was unfolding. And we kids asked our parents and their generation, explain to me again why it's okay for the law to officially discriminate against people because of their skin color. And parents try to tell their kids the right thing, Usually, I do. And when our parents' generation couldn't answer that question, that's when the laws started to change.
Okay, stop for a second. Stop for a second. You hear where he's going? My parents, they didn't know either. They didn't know. They couldn't answer that question. Okay, well, my parents could have answered that question, and I think they did. answer that question. I mean, I grew up in the Seattle area, and we didn't have the race riots and everything else. I don't remember any of that stuff. But I do remember having conversations later in life when I was a little older and talking about it, and my parents going, there's no difference. There's no difference between us. So my parents answered that question. I think a lot of parents did. But apparently Al Gore was raised by racists, because that's what I'm hearing here. But he's not really building to race, is he? That is, are we still having the race debate? Are our parents still saying that blacks are different than whites? Is that what he's building towards?
There are some things about our world that you know that older people don't know.
Stop! There are some things that you're 12. There are some things that you know that older people don't know. That is, we're just getting started. That is one of the most incredible things I have ever heard. There are some things that you know that older people don't know. He is pitting the youth of this nation against their parents. We have a former vice president of the United States, a man who claims to have been president of the United States, saying to the best and the brightest 12-year-olds that you know better than your parents, that you don't have to listen to your parents on things because they just don't know. I'm trying to think where else this has been done. Oh, my gosh, that's right. Soviet Russia, Nazi Germany, Mussolini's Italy. In fact, the Nazis took it an extra step. Not only did they indoctrinate the kids and tell them that you're probably right, you know, but your parents don't. In fact, here's the next step. Why don't you tell us what your parents are telling you? Are we having the new Hitler Youth? Is that what this is? The new Hitler Youth? I'm sorry, that's so politically incorrect. The new Green Guard. I've never heard a vice president say anything like this, and it only gets better. Listen to what he's saying now. We're going to pick it back up at that clip. Listen to what he's saying to children about what they know that adults don't. This is just, by the way, the setup to what they do know that the parents don't. Listen to this.
There are some things about our world that you know that older people don't know. Why would that be? Well, in a period of rapid change, the old assumptions sometimes just don't work anymore because they're out of date. New knowledge, new understandings are much more widely available sometimes to young people who are in school who aren't weighed down with the old flawed assumptions of the past. Now, don't get me wrong. Your parents...
Stop. Whew. He's going to give a caveat. Don't get me wrong here. We'll get to the caveat here in a second. Does that, Andy, as the father of the 12-year-old that recorded this, does that just scream evil to you?
Yeah, in fact, I stopped the tape right after listening to that part in the car, and I screamed at my wife that he is telling my child not to listen to me.
What did your daughter say?
Glenn, God bless her. I have a smart kid. I mean, luckily, I talked to her enough before she went into this. I mean, I had no idea it was going to be this bad, but I knew what to expect from an Al Gore speech. So she went into this knowing that basically this guy's crap. So it didn't affect her. But if you listen, I mean, when you listen to that, when he gets to certain points in that tape, the whole room erupts in cheers.